Okay. How long were you on the tribal council?
I was on the tribal council for 9 years, from 1999 to 2008.
And were you immediately elected vice president, or did you have to work up to vice president?
Yeah, I was just a regular councilman for a couple of years, and every year when they reorganize and they have a voting nominations for officers and stuff. So I was nominated for vice chairman and served in that capacity for 4 or 5 years.
Alright, well, do you know what I'm writing about?
Oh, I read your little letter, some of the issues as far as portrayal of the Indians in the films.
How do you feel about that?
I feel pretty good. I mean, as far as the movies and well, I remember growing up when my dad used to take us to the movies in Sioux City, and then when they had TV, and way back in the old TV series that used to be on like Gunsmoke with James Arness, and then Rawhide was another one. But I remember we'd be having dinner and the TV would be on, one of those Western shows would be on, and then I know there were a couple of Winnebagos that was out in Hollywood, and then every once in a while they would have a dialogue where they would use Winnebago language in those movies, in those TV shows, and then my dad would say like "Kate," because he could hear that what they were saying. He said, "What did he say?" Explain what they were saying on TV. And that kind of my earliest recollection. But he did tell us that there were a couple of Winnebagos that were in the movies out there.
So do you like watching films with natives in them because it's somewhat of a portrayal?
Well, being aware that we were Indian, but again at the same time, a lot of young Indians were named John Wayne. I have a couple friends that were named John Wayne. Stuff like that, kind of teased them about it. That was, he was a cowboy hero, Roy Rogers, and all that other stuff. He was kind of caught up in that, and then later on, when they start, the noble red man and things like that, it's portrayed in the silent, strong silent type, the same much, stuff like that. But with a lot of the films nowadays, they want more historically accurate. The different dramas that they have nowadays, the New World, and some of the other ones, they try to get them as authentic as possible down to the way that they dressed and all those other issues that they have. So the films that came out with dances before Geronimo.
Do you think those movies did a good job?
Yeah. As far as portraying, not only the stereotypes, but the Indians as real people with characters, courage and truthfulness, and what they were, how they were, why they were fighting, what they believed in, and nobody ever more or less kind of went into that. How we feel about our side of the story. Some of the earlier stuff. And then also with the documentaries about Red Cloud, the trials of Red Cloud, where they weren't even considered, human beings. Major court case, he was considered, a human.
So would you say that, as far as culture goes, that you tried to spread the word about, like, we're still here while you were on the council?
Well, as far as the different universities, University of Nebraska, University of South Dakota, and all these various state agencies that do have grant money in there for going after and doing documentaries, telling your story about your tribe. Each tribe, even though we're all related, but we all have our own different traditions and cultures within each of us. The way that we were on, and all the different ceremonies. So, they always said that one of the things that bound the Indian people together, the indigenous people, is that their belief in a higher power. We always prayed, and it's still that way. Even when we conduct our tribal council meetings, that we start every day with prayer. It's not that way in state governments and things like that, where they separate the state and then the church. Continue on that way. Our tradition. We start out with a prayer and we conduct our meetings after, so we still believe in those things. And all of our ceremonies and stuff like that is passed on. It's an oral tradition, and it's passed on those teachings to your children. Based upon a society, a warrior society, where basically everything was set up for the protection of the tribe as a whole. Each clan had a different responsibility as far as the protection of the tribe.
As a grown-up, how does it make you feel to, like, see Caprice do really good with Ho-Chunk language?
Well, because that's one of the things that facing the Indian tribes, and that, our language, the language program is kind of renewing that efforts in the young speakers. It's a slow process, but at that same time, I can still see improvements because of how, it's been going on. Take yourself, for example, where you can write the language and then look at the word and then say the word based upon the alphabet, the Ho-Chunk alphabet. And that's progress there. And then, you can transcribe the tape. And then to have Caprice in her younger generation of her age group go after that, and then want to learn and carry on those traditions and things like that. It's good to see that, even at her young age, where she wrote a letter to the language program and then went to the tribal council and said we should have a Ho-Chunk day where we would have a total, immersion, that when they do everything Ho-Chunk. Yes. Dress in traditional clothing and do everything the way it used to be. Just get everybody involved, the whole community, the elders, and the young people, and everybody to see those things.
I feel it could make you wish you had the Ho-Chunk Renaissance in your time when you were in school.
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess my dad and my mother, in their day, when they were in school, they were punished for speaking the language. And even though they knew how to talk the language, because when my dad was on the tribal council, they conducted all of the meetings in Ho-Chunk. They spoke Ho-Chunk all through the whole meeting. And then my mom, so they would converse back and forth in Ho-Chunk, but they never taught it to us kids because they didn't want us to go experience what they went through. They were still being punished. They were still being had their mouths, rinsed out with soap and stuff for speaking their language or whip, things like that. Those things were still done, so they never did that to us because they wanted us to get an education as far as getting the 8th grade diploma and then the high school diploma.